Hey everybody, welcome to another ActionFeatures.net Comics Weekend Review, even though we're recording this on Monday.
Nope, 3-day weekend for us.
It's a 3-day weekend. I was going to say, you beat me to it. It's a 3-day weekend, so we're doing it on the third day of the weekend.
Right.
Right? Okay.
I wish it was every week.
I wish it was every week too. Alright, so what is the date? So that's the 19th, 18th, 17th, 16th,
So today the
15th,
19th.
14th, 13th. It's from weekend. It's from releases from February 13th. I didn't put them in order again. Let's see. Uncanny, Secret Comes Before Star, Cable, and Avengers. Okay, we got it. We'll stick this in the stack in order.
Okay.
Let's jump right to it. This is what we read this week. It picked up, whatever, that kind of stuff. Avengers Arena issue 4 came in. And again, this is continuing the storyline where Arcade has kidnapped a bunch of younger heroes and has got them all in this, like, island space trap thing, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what to call it. But he's got them inside there, and he's basically going to make them fight it all out to the death. And each issue has kind of given more of a backstory of each character. And I honestly can't remember what the name of this character is that they gave the backstory on this time around. No, it wasn't a Wolverine-type character this time. It was Chase, I think it was. Background on this character, Chase. And basically Chase and Nico, we were kind of partnered up. I don't know where they came from before this, or if they came from anything before this. They team up, and she's got these kind of magical powers. She can cast spells, but she can only cast them one time. And so they make this tree that gives off fruit, because there's nothing to eat there.
Right.
And so they take their group to meet up with X-23 and, what's her name? Fallout, I think it is? Hazmat. They're going to meet up with their group because they think that maybe they can all team up together. That doesn't work out right. After the end of last issue, which we can now talk about, how Darkhawk was taken out by something and the amulet was ripped out of his chest. So he's lost his Darkhawk powers. Yeah, we know Darkhawk's on the cover. Well, at the end of this, the amulet shows back up. And I'm not going to say how or what happens with it. This book continues to be a very interesting read for me. I think that it's great that they're doing single issues for each, almost like a backstory each time. I'm wondering what's going to happen when they're through all the characters and they've done all the backstories, how much story there will be each issue. You know what I mean? Right. Like, it would be tough to fill a whole issue with somebody going over and hiding, and somebody fighting somebody else, and somebody doing something else. And, I mean, it's got to end at some point. The storyline has to end. So I'm wondering what's going to happen to this book when basically everybody dies. Next up is Avengers Assemble, issue 12. This begins the new story arc after the whole Banner and Stark and their rivalry thing. And this one is Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Spider-Woman all teaming up because Black Widow has kind of made amends for some of the things she's done in the past. Kind of like we talked about with Winter Soldier last week. She's made amends with other people that she's kind of wronged, and she's left them this little pager, basically, so that if they ever need her, they can call on her. And so she gets one of these messages, and her and Hawkeye and Spider-Woman all head off to help this little girl that's lost, and it turns out to be this drug they're using called
Turtle.
Crocodile?
Oh.
Turtle. Crocodile or something like that. And it basically is a drug, and then it makes them all scaly and stuff. They run into a huge group of these lizard people, and there's kind of a twist ending. And you read this one too. What did you think of this book?
It was alright.
It didn't feature some of your favorite Avengers, is the reason why I think maybe you didn't dig it that much.
It didn't feature my favorite Avengers yet.
Exactly. It didn't have Hulk, it didn't have Cap, it didn't have Iron Man. But I still consider Black Widow and Hawkeye major Avengers.
I do.
So I kind of dug it. I haven't really been disappointed with this person since DeConnick, I think is the last name. Since they've taken over this book, I really haven't been too disappointed. I like it better than the Bendis run was.
Yes.
And you know, it's kind of fun to see where this goes. And I prefer this book to the Avengers book because at least we know, you know, the one where they were doing all the random characters.
Yes.
At least these I consider Avengers.
Are you gonna give it up? That
Avengers Assemble? Yeah. No, I'll stick with it for a bit longer. Here we go. This one I did not read, but I get this for Keaton, and he's just now kind of learning to read. And so he got it, and then Blaze asked if he could borrow it, and that's Avengers Earth's Mightiest Hero number 11. And that is the book that's kind of based off of the Avengers animated universe and Ultimate Spider-Man and things like that. How was it?
Well, it was pretty. It was 3 stories.
Okay.
First one was kind of a Thor Hercules.
Let's hold it up. I'll hold it up as you're talking.
It was a Thor Hercules kind of. Hercules came and he started like fighting Thor, but then
watch your feet there.
Hulk broke it up just by
Being Hulk.
yes.
Yeah.
That was basically it for the second story. After
Yeah.
they fought, they just made a peace treaty.
So that's the first. There's how many stories in this? A
3.
couple? Oh wow. Okay, so that was the first story.
Yes. The second is Captain. It's Captain America in like his dream world. He's really old in his dream, but then like.
Are you talking about this one?
Yeah.
That's the third. This is the second one.
Oh, then I skipped over that because that was for something.
It's
else.
very weird. It's like it's pictures from the show.
Then there's 4 stories.
Okay, so there's that one. You skipped
yeah,
it.
but it kind of shows kind of the corpse, I would say. But then
Captain America
yeah,
Corps?
but that's Steve Rogers as
Oh, wow.
he's getting older. It was just a dream though.
Oh, okay.
And so like Nightmare comes, this villain Nightmare comes. Captain America's trying to fight the dream.
Don't spoil the ending.
I won't. But then he talked to the one guy, I don't remember his name, Sleepwalker.
Oh, I remember Sleepwalker
Yeah.
from the 90s.
Sleepwalker, he talked to him and he was like, this is a dream, right? I can dream up whatever I want. So he dreamt up his shield.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I don't want to ruin the ending. So that
I'm gonna have to read that because I remember Sleepwalker from the 90s when I was younger.
But the third story is only a 2-page story. It's that little Hulk thing called
Oh.
It has Red Hulk, Green Hulk, and then
It's got this like kitty type art.
yeah, and then it's a Blue Hulk that was made up. But they're in a spaceship. Iron Man says, "Okay, make sure you don't press anything in."
And
Green
so they
Hulk's
press something.
everything.
Yeah. So you like this book?
Yes.
You've had a few of these issues. Keaton's got a lot of them too. You kind of stopped reading it for a while, and Keaton was getting it because
Right.
you started moving into more of the mainstream books.
Right.
But you told me after this one, you said, "Hey, I think I might want that book now too." So I might have to start getting 2 of this each month.
Right. Because I really want the next.
That's a
issue.
great kids book.
It is.
It's a great younger reader book. What's the next issue?
It's well, Captain America and Banner like trade bodies. Like there's a Hulk, Captain America type creature,
Wow.
and then Banner has like the shield. I'll show you the. It's right here, like
Oh,
Banner
that's
holding
cool.
up the shield.
That's pretty cool. All right, Cable and X-Force issue 4. This continues the storyline, and now things have kind of come back together again. The beginning of this book, when this book first started, there were 2 kind of timelines happening at once. The now and the then, and it was leading up to show, Cable building this team. He's having these visions of what's happening, and so he's built up this team, and he is right when they first started, they're in trouble. They've done some kind of wrong, and the Uncanny Avengers are coming after them. And the book has slowly built up to get to the point where we find out how they got to that point. This one is right after they've gone into this building where they manufacture this meat or something,
Right.
and this stuff has been given to these people that are there that's kind of causing them to turn these mutant monster things, because the head of this company hates mutants, basically, and they're going to try and blame mutants for this. So they get there, and this issue is kind of them dealing with these giant monsters that are there, and Doc Nemesis is trying to find a cure, and just kind of bringing everything to a head, to the point where everything's going to now be current, I guess. There's going to be no now and then. It's just going to be them on the run as X-Force, away from the... What's wrong? What are you looking at?
No, I'm thinking about something about that book.
This one?
Yes.
What about it?
So you know that team that you said that doesn't like the mutants and stuff?
It doesn't like the mutants.
Didn't you just say there was a team that...
Oh, there's a person that hates the mutants.
Well, it kind of reminds me of the old cartoon where that one dude didn't like the mutants and he had a scientist getting sentinels ready.
Oh, you're talking about Bolivar Trask
Yes.
and,
Scientist.
I can't remember the other guy's name. I can't remember the other guy's
I
name.
can't
But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I don't know how much of that is going to be integral to this book, but, so far I really like it. I like this team a lot, and the art is amazing. The Salvador LaRocca art.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I keep going back and forth as to who does the best art on of the new Marvel Now books, but I think it might be LaRocca. I think the art on this book is incredible. So that was that one. Fantastic Four issue 4. Again, the Fantastic Four, Reed knows there's something wrong with them. They're breaking down. He's taking them throughout space on this mission to kind of find other civilizations and things, to find this cure. And he's got all the Fantastic Four plus his 2 kids. It's kind of like a family adventure type deal. This has been the first issue I've been disappointed with for this book.
This?
Yeah, I did not enjoy this one that much.
Well, what happened?
They find this alien race, and the whole thing's being kind of told while Reed's having it's kind of like he's got an inner monologue. Or what's wrong with your nose there? You're right. Oh, he's got this inner monologue thing going where he's talking about how much he loves Sue, and there's kind of some flashbacks to him and Sue first getting together, and all that stuff is cool. But they get to this alien race, and the alien race is like, oh, our friends have returned, our friends are here. And so they go to show them these hieroglyphs in a cave that's basically them.
Right.
And they're like, oh my goodness, how can this be? How could they have these ancient writings on the wall showing it's us. And the whole issue is, again, Reed thinking about how much he loves Sue, and it keeps flashing back to how much he loves her and how he's got this secret. He wants to tell her what's going on about with them breaking down or whatever. And Sue begins to suspect that something's going on, that he has a secret. And at the end, you find out how the cave drawings got there, and it's just kind of ridiculous. It doesn't really make any sense whatsoever.
To spoil that?
I'll tell you afterwards. It is a spoiler. It just doesn't really make sense. It's like, why did this whole adventure happen? I don't even understand what the point of this was. So this really feels... Yeah. This really feels like an issue you could just toss out. At the end of the issue, Sue is confronting Reed and says, and basically, and Reed is going to have to tell her what's going on.
Right.
So that's the only thing really you walk away from this book going, okay, we're at the point now where Sue's going to tell Reed. So you can pretty much just not have this book at all, I think, and just go from issues 3 to 5 and be in the same place. I feel like that. Although the flashback stuff was cool, I think it was definitely a downer.
It reminds me of the Future Foundation costumes.
They're a lot like the Future Foundation costumes. I think they might even be the Future Foundation costumes. Secret Avengers #1. Now this is a new Avengers book that's basically... the regular Secret Avengers book is now ended. We're now in Secret Avengers #1. And this team is kind of like almost like a S.H.I.E.L.D. team, where they're going to do like secret ops and things like that.
See, I've been wanting to read that because I saw an.
Are you going to check this one out?
Book. Yes, I would like
It's pretty good. It's a little on the confusing side as to why certain things are happening. Hawkeye and Black Widow were called in by Nick Fury and Maria Hill and Agent Coulson.
Right.
And they're going to have them go out on these missions that ordinarily Avengers wouldn't be doing or something like that. And they're going to have these brain implants where it'll just trigger them. They'll go out and do the mission, and they won't even like remember anything that happens when they get back. I don't know why that Black Widow and Hawkeye would kind of be okay with that, but they say there's something that's hidden that they don't tell them.
Right.
Like Coulson says something, but they don't show it in the book, and they're like, okay, we're in. So I'm very curious what that thing is that caused them to be okay with having these memory implants. They go on a mission, and something happens during the mission, and they have no recollection of what happens, and it involves one of them getting hurt, and who hurts them, and they are just kind of taking it out.
Wait, I have to say something.
Yeah.
Isn't Simon Cole dead?
Coulson is alive in the comics.
Oh, he is?
It's only in the Avengers movie. He's a character in the comics now, and he's alive, and he's kind of the Nick Fury, like the Sam Jackson Nick Fury. It's kind of like his right-hand man.
You know what that costume on him reminds me of the Super
It
Soldier.
is. It is that costume. It's the same costume.
Why
yeah.
did he wear that?
I don't know. I don't know why he's not wearing this costume, but I think it's cool looking.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's really neat.
I like calling the Coulson Simon Cole.
I know. I'm curious to see where this book goes. I like this team. I like Black Widow, Hawkeye. I like this Nick Fury, and I love Coulson. So I'm very
awesome.
Yeah, and he reads, and when you read him in this book, he kind of feels like the Coulson from the movies.
Right.
So I'm very curious to see where this book goes. I really want to know what that thing is
I
that
really
would
want to
allow
read that
them.
book when I saw
You're
the
totally
ad.
welcome to borrow that one and read it. We got 2 more to go. Star Wars issue 2. This is the Star Wars book that's sort of an ongoing series that not really tied to all the previous expanded universe stuff. Takes place in the classic trilogy in between Star Wars and Empire right now.
Right.
The first issue was kind of disappointing. The second issue was also disappointing.
Third?
This is the second.
Oh, that is?
Yeah. I'm still not digging the art. I love the covers because they're Alex Ross. But the art inside, it's really tough to differentiate anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't look like Luke, and it doesn't look like Wedge, and it doesn't... There's some scenes that look kind of like Leia, but it doesn't look like Han. And the characters, as they talk, I don't really feel like it's those characters.
Especially that one thing with the X-Wing
Oh,
that you told
yeah,
me about.
that was not good.
It wasn't?
Where, yeah, okay, 2 X-Wings get... Leia's X-Wing gets messed up. They barely piece it together, and they're like, you're going to have to do this cold start. Luke would take Leia's X-Wing. He wouldn't send her up... Yeah, he wouldn't send her the beat-up X-Wing. He'd say, you take the good X-Wing, I'm the better pilot, I've got the Force, I'll take the beat-up X-Wing. That's what Luke would do. Luke would not just say, well, good luck, Leia. So in this issue, they're looking for a new home for the Rebel base. Leia's pulling together this sort of tight-knit team because they think they have like spies within the Rebel Alliance. And so they introduce all these new characters that are in these new X-Wings. They're all black. And Boba Fett is in there for just like a minute inside Slave One, going after Han. It's just not very good.
I know why he gave her the beat-up X-Wing.
What?
Luke has something against her.
Maybe he does. Maybe he does. And the last book of the week, Uncanny X-Men #1. Finally, the Cyclops team and the Mutant Revolutionary team have their own book after just kind of being within all the new X-Men and spinning out of Avengers vs. X-Men Consequences. He's got his own team. They're rounding up mutants. That's been happening a lot in all new X-Men. So he's slowly building this team together. This whole book is kind of told while there is somebody that goes to see Maria Hill at S.H.I.E.L.D. about Cyclops, and they think he's a threat. They're like, this guy's a big threat. How did he get in here? And he's basically telling them, you know, Cyclops is a threat, but his powers are wonky. Now's your chance to go after him. And then they tell about this event where there's a new mutant that arrives that creates these balls. Well, that's his powers. He has balls. I have that power too. Anyway, so he can create balls, but okay, spheres. He can create spheres of like different sizes, and they kind of come out of his body. But it could be a cool power, you know what I mean? Like creating spheres. Like if you created a giant one and dropped it on somebody, and created a tiny one and like it went inside their ear and then like blew up their head or something like that, you can do crazy stuff with that power. But it is kind of weird. So they're going to rescue him. And Cyclops' powers are wonky, and at the end of the book you find out who it is that is telling Maria Hill all this, and it's very kind of unexpected and doesn't really make a lot of sense right now. I don't want to blow that for you, so when we get to the next issue, hopefully you'll read it because I'm going to have to talk about it. But the entire issue, you think it's one person, and it's not, and then you find out who it is, and you're like, huh, that's interesting, but why?
Hey, Dad, I have a question.
Yeah.
When's the next... Do you know when the next Deadpool comic's coming in?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe next week? I don't know.
I don't know, I'm just wondering.
I don't know, I'll have to check. The thing about this one that I enjoyed the writing, and it's Bendis, so I don't know, I guess I'm now a Bendis fan, which is weird, but I really like his current writing. Bocello does the art. Now that I'm not a huge fan of. I like his art, but I think he fits better with teen books, because like his drawings of White Queen, she looks like a teenager. The costumes have been redesigned. Magneto's got like all white. It's almost like they have all gray and white except for Cyclops. It's kind of weird costumes. I liked this book though.
It might be better for Young Avengers, his art.
Yeah, it might be. Hand me all those books and we'll take a look and see.
I left them in alphabetical order.
I think that my pick of the week... What's your pick of the week between your two? Avengers Earth Mightiest or Avengers Assemble?
Avengers Assemble this week.
Avengers Assemble or this?
That's a little more silly. I kind of like the series books too.
Avengers Assemble is yours. I'm going to have to go with Uncanny X-Men. I mean, I really enjoy that Cyclops team. I think everything's kind of pulling together well. I'm enjoying everything.
I left everything in alphabetical order.
Thank you. That'll make it easier to file it. All right, so that's it, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so keep reading them comics, and we'll see you guys again next week.